Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show about video game movies. My name is Ethan, and with me here to lay it all out for you is my friend Devin. How's it going, Devin?
Don't just sit there and waste your precious time.
That's a very classic Sonic quote.
hmm
That's like on a
First
box
one that
for the
popped
first
up.
game.
I didn't even click on a link this time. I just searched Sonic quotes July 4th. There's some cool pictures of Sonic that I wish I could show to folks. Some good fan art actually. There's one on DeviantArt. DeviantArt? Yeah, that's how you say it.
That's still a thing.
I don't know when this was made. Let me see. But it says Happy 4th of July. You have Rouge the Bat holding like the little sparklers, and she's flying,
Sure.
and she's looking down oh, because she sees Knuckles and Shadow mischievously lighting like a big one, a big fucking rocket. And everyone else is doing sparklers. There's a Chow. There's that Cream who's like pointing to the sky at something. Now I look at it though, the one firework kind of looks like the black sun, the Nazi symbol.
Our audience will
So
won't
maybe.
see this, so I'm sure they can now just imagine a Nazi firework being lit up by Knuckles the Echidna.
Yeah, don't Google this. Just use your imagination. There's another one though of sparklers, kind of a similar format where it's on a hill, and Mario and Sonic are wearing like 4th of July stuff, and it says Happy 4th of July.
Wow.
Because Sonic is pro-America, as we know. So
Right, red, white, and blue. That's right. Speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, he's got a movie coming out the end of the year, hopefully. Still, Sonic
a
the
Knuckles
Hedgehog
movie,
3. A Sonic movie.
Sonic movie.
I even hear Shadow the Hedgehog might be in it. Can you believe it?
Wow,
Yeah,
that'd be something. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll actually get to see it if it's actually real. That's one of the many upcoming video game movies. We wanted to kind of walk through all of them today. The ones that
Kind
we
of a
know
check-in.
for a fact, check-in, exactly. We made it a living document for ourselves to help us keep track for the sake of our show, because eventually, if, these are coming out, we're going to be reviewing them on the podcast, so it's nice to know that, yes, indeed, there is a movie planned based on X game. We are not going to be surprised if it gets kind of re-revealed. We're gonna kind of go through them all, check in, as Devin said, and see where they're at. If there's any news, we'll kind of talk about them today, and just give an overall vibe check on we actually think this is gonna be a thing, because I don't know if folks know, if you're a video game fan and you're not really into the movie industry, one of the big crazy things about movies that games don't do is they announce themselves when the idea and the rights exchange hands. They'll announce Indiana Jones 5 in 2016.
10.
Yeah, or even
I think it was. I think it was way earlier. Like the one that finally
Jesus.
came out last year. I remember there was a Twitter account for it that was
supposed to come out in 2019, right?
yeah, something like that, and it was announced
Yeah.
in 2016 or something like that. But then the tweet was from 2015 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
I remember it being a thing,
Wild.
and they finally deleted it. And but yeah, sometimes they'll announce stuff, and this is where if you're really connected, following the right people on Twitter. I guess I shouldn't say connected. I don't know a director or something, or know someone in the
We got
industry.
insider secrets.
But I follow enough people that when there's rights exchange, they'll kind of be like, oh, the rights were exchanged, nothing's guaranteed. Or sometimes you'll hear a director be like, yeah, I would really like to do a Metal Gear Solid movie one of these days, and
And then
people say
10
stuff,
years
and
later,
then
still saying that shit. Yeah.
yeah, and I think I'll just say when we get those things, just in general, when it comes to anything, it could be I want to make a movie about this anime or whatever in live action. I think you should always take those with a grain of salt, especially if it's coming from a director, because a lot of times directors, of course, they're creative, very creative people. Of course, they have probably even maybe scripts written for some things, but all it takes is a production company to be like, I'm good, and then you don't ever hear about that.
Right.
Or I wrote the script, but then. Or a script writer wrote it, and then they need to find a director for it. They never do. Maybe it goes through a couple different hands. Things change. So I always will say is be hesitant until you
You
officially
see something. Like,
Yeah.
not because
I get
sometimes
it's
just
easy to
like,
get
oh, we
excited,
have
but
this actor or oh, we have this director. Sometimes that doesn't
yeah.
actually mean anything.
Yeah. I
There's
would
a movie
honestly
way down on this list that I don't think is going to happen unless the whole thing kind of gets shaken up and rebooted. That has Ryan Reynolds attached to it. That still
yeah.
doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah. I
Um,
was going to say I would always like follow even just directly from the production companies themselves most of the time. Um of like unless it's like Dark Pictures there with Warner Brothers. Excuse me. With Dark Pictures there when they're like the Dark Universe, or not Dark Pictures, the Dark Universe.
Universal.
Unless it's something like that, like I
like
wouldn't
that.
trust that. Even the Marvel like cinematic universe now timeline has very much shifted. Outside of those things, unless they like, I think announce one thing, and usually with like a date, then you know it's serious. Which is I think how you broke this down pretty well, where it's like things have given dates. I know we have one here. It's like Angry Birds 3, which pretty much is confirmed at this point. I think they're just probably in the middle of pre-production.
Yeah, they put out a little teaser that like they animated this, so they're clearly working. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We know they're working. At
they
the
just haven't
very
given
least.
a date yet.
Right.
And hopefully none of these movies, even the ones we're not interested in, because I don't believe that this is a good thing, don't ever get put behind a vault. Thank you, Warner Brothers, for continuing to make full-on movies and then deciding I'm never gonna show them, not even on just throwing on fucking HBO Max or whatever, or just make it fucking free on YouTube. Who gives a fuck if you really
Yeah.
don't care? Just put it on YouTube. You know, I hope that shit never happens with any of these. By the way, I know some of these might be direct to DVD. I know it's not DVD anymore, but best way I can describe it: direct to DVD, direct to streaming. I think we'll get some of those on here. But a lot of these will probably be in theaters, or at least I hope so. I think every movie deserves
Yeah.
to be seen on the big screen, in my opinion. As a movie snob, I've officially joined. I think I'm officially a movie. I think I've been one. I just haven't, come to terms with it. I am very much a believer now in the movie theater experience.
You
I
have
will die
become
on this
Nicole
hill.
Kidman and the
Yes,
AMC had. We come to this
she
place.
is me, and I am her. We are one.
They filmed new ones.
I've seen alternate cuts of it, and there was one like month where they weren't showing any, and now they have but then they were showing this new one where it was this guy dancing, and they're kind of like in the movies. There's actually one part of it where they're kind of like a Fast and Furious homage, like the original one where they're like racing against each other, but then it cuts to them in the theater because like, oh, it's an immersive experience. Now they were doing that one. Then they kept that one, but then they're also doing that one and the Nicole Kidman one back to back. So it's like really extra long now where it's like, okay, holy
Jesus.
fuck. I just watched 25 minutes of trailers. And now it's like I have to wait another like 10 minutes
Get this
to
commercial
watch
for
all
the
like
plates I'm already spending money at.
I think the first one's technically like your Coca-Cola, you know what I mean, commercial
Sure,
where
but
like, hey,
that still implies that it's possible that you didn't buy Coca-Cola. You're at AMC. You gave them money already. There's
yeah,
one AMC near me where I live. Does not have a Dolby theater. I
that's lame.
actually think it. No, it doesn't have IMAX either. The Tinseltown from Cinemark has IMAX. So like, I haven't been to an AMC in over 2 years. No, since Mario.
We need to get you
Brothers.
back, dude. We need to get
So,
you back, dog. We need to get you back in the saddle again. We need to get
I don't
you
know.
a
There's
feed.
an Apple theater being built near me that's supposed to be somewhat like an Alamo
Apple
Draft House where
theater.
they not like Apple phones, Apple electronics, but like just Apple, I guess Apples maybe. Where like it's like it's dine-in theater experience.
Yeah, there's some around here. I've never done any because I don't know if I'd like that. I don't like
That's
when.
the one that found your wallet, by the way.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
We'll talk about that one day in
We'll
the
save.
future.
Yeah, maybe next Nuzlocke Run stream because I joked about it like on episode 2 about if someone lost their wallet in game and I'm like, is this making fun of me?
Right.
So
Folks,
now
check out our Nuzlocke streams. By the time you're listening to this episode, we probably have talked about that on the stream. I don't think this is
probably a
coming
good
out anytime
chance.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, little tangent there, but yeah, I'm a movie snob, so I do hope that all these movies, even if it's like a weekend only, thing, I hope.
Well,
Especially if it's, I always, for me, it's always like, I don't know, That's what movies are made for at the end of the day. Most of them. I'm sure
They're
there's some.
made for my phone while I sit on the toilet. That's what
Yeah.
they're made for. Let's begin with a movie that I don't think deserves to be in theaters because I'm a hater.
Wow.
Releasing on August 9th of this year, 2024, the Borderlands movie, aka it's just simply called Borderlands. With all the stars, you got Jack Black cashing it in. You got Kevin Hart in there. You got
Jamie Lee Curtis is in there.
Kate Blanchett looking like she's being filmed on a set of SNL. Man, that trailer, you guys can watch it. I find it real bad and corny, but I'm a Borderlands hater, so you can take my opinions with a grain of salt and not
See,
with the trash.
I'm gonna bring a different perspective of hating on this actually. And I'm not gonna say this was my original thought. I didn't think about this. I didn't have an epiphany. I saw a tweet about it, or like a tweet conversation, and I think it makes I think it's a good argument. So I want to hear your thoughts and other people's thoughts. Okay. So there was a movie that came out in like 2017 that kind of had that post-apocalyptic desert theme going on. Came from a very old franchise from the 80s. That kind of had a stylized look to it that everyone likes.
Cars 3.
Cars 3. That's what I'm talking about. No, Mad Max Fury Road came out, right? And that did pretty good at the time. And people were like, oh, wow, we're probably going to get a sequel sometime down the line. And we got Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, basically a kind of loose prequel to Fury Road. And that movie bombed in the box office real bad.
Really?
No one saw it.
I didn't.
I saw it twice. I tried. I saw it with friends, and I saw it with Bryn another night because she couldn't make it. So I saw it twice within 4 days, and I liked it both times. And a lot of people thought like, oh, why'd this bomb? Why'd this bomb? It's like, oh, is it like franchise burnout? No, the Fury Road came out like almost 7 years ago. It's not that. And people liked Fury Road. People say it's even a cult classic. Like people said like, I didn't see it in theaters. I wound up really liking it. And all these positive reviews of it, right? So how did it bomb? It even has Anya Taylor-Joy, who at this point I would say is kind of a familiar name in the general movie populace,
she was
right?
Princess Peach.
Yes, but people know who she is, right? So you're like, oh, how this bomb? And everyone's like, I think the economy has one part to do with it. But everyone's like, but last year, Oppenheimer and Barbie destroyed the box office together collectively. They both came out at the same time. Granted, there was kind of a meme equivalent kind of build up to that, but still, it still did really, really well. But Dune Part 2 is still the #1 box office movie this year, and it's fucking June. That shows how bad the theater kind of the box office is going. But Planet of the Apes did pretty well a couple weeks before, but it still didn't do big numbers like the other ones did. But,
so what's your theory for Furiosa then? Do you think people are just sick of that type?
Well, I
of
think
movie?
I think people. I mean, I think you have marketing Borderlands coming out, kind of maybe being well, they're gonna do the video game version of. I'm not saying this is fair comparison, but I think the style of which that trailer is advertised to me is kind of trying to fit that Suicide Squad mixed with Mad Max Fury Road. This is the one person's opinion I saw on Twitter. I'm like, I kind of see that. It was that movie, and then also, what else is set in a post-apocalyptic world that has a lot of hype around it too? Is Deadpool and Wolverine both take place in a desert and have similar stunts and stuff too. So you have these two movies coming out this summer that are pretty close to it, or at least influenced by Mad Max. People are like, does that maybe affect people's thing? I'm not saying it's.
Does it?
I'm just saying this.
You're if you put yourself in the shoes of a non-movie fan, likes watching movies because they're fun with on a date or with family or whatever, maybe friends. Be like, oh, there are too many desert movies coming out. I gotta pick one. Do you really think?
But Dune even was a desert movie. I'm just saying, there's been
this year of the desert.
Yeah, it's the year of the desert. So I can kind of see
that. I guess.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's a huge, strong argument, but I can kind of see maybe people are burnt out at seeing.
I definitely think people families especially, and people that don't go to movies often, especially because they are, they're not free. Pick one summer movie, and I think Wolverine and Deadpool is probably one a lot of people picked. I will actually go see
especially
that
a
in
rated R movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too. Furiosa was a rated R movie. Like, not every parent's gonna feel comfortable bringing their kid to that. I know my dad would have been cool and brought me to it. But yeah, you had Planet of the Apes literally 2 weeks before. Planet of the Apes actually was supposed to come out the same weekend, and I think they moved it up because they thought Furiosa was, I think, gonna possibly steamroll them a bit, or at least it would be too much collision. But even Planet of the Apes didn't do as well as like I would hope, but still did like $350 million on a budget of 100 and something, so it's still pretty good. But yeah, I feel like we're in that time of the year where people are deciding their one movie, and like, does movies all having a similar thematic setting, I mean, I don't think it's fair to compare them, but I can see a general person maybe like,
Yeah, I guess.
man, I'm kind of sick of, I saw Dune, it was cool, but like another desert movie, or I'll just watch it when it comes to digital, but it didn't help that we're in the era now where like some movies have contracts with theaters of like what gets like Dolby showings and IMAX,
What
where
gets
they
the
can make a
IMAX
little bit extra
screens.
money.
Oppenheimer
and I know
Tom Cruise off because of the reluctance on theaters to give his movie any screens when they know a Christopher Nolan movie would eat up in IMAX.
Yeah, even though Christopher Nolan does shoot in IMAX film,
and
too,
he deserves to have his
fair.
film shot in IMAX. I just feel like,
right.
Paramount could have moved Mission Impossible, and so you know what I mean.
But yeah,
okay,
so
here's
I just brought it up because I just thought it was I saw this tweet and I was saving it. I was saving it till this episode we were doing because I just thought it was an interesting argument. I don't know if I'm 110% like behind it, but I think it's a very compelling one where it's like, yeah, does like how much do like movie like with Marvel movies we saw, right? Where it's like I'm just sick of superheroes outside of maybe a Spider-Man or a Wolverine movie coming out every 4 years. You know what I mean? Like even now Disney's finally been like, oh yeah, we need to actually stop with the Marvel shit for a little bit. They've been kind of taking a break, so they're gonna see how I think
following
Deadpool
the logic
does.
though. I don't see how Borderlands would do better than Furiosa because I feel like Furiosa, Mad Max is a movie that
Borderlands
people are like
is...
hell yeah for, and this is like okay.
Let me see what the actual box office was for Furiosa while we're on it, just to see like numbers.
Because man,
I'm just gonna do domestic.
I know there's a lot of people that will find a lot of things funny regardless, and that's cool for them. I'm not one of those people. I just found putting the Borderlands games aside and just looking at the trailer for this movie, it's just so not funny, and like a uncomfortable not funny. Like they're really trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, in this kind of aesthetic, and it just feels so superficial to me. It feels like an SNL skit. Like, hey, you guys met days ago. Here are your lines, type of thing.
I am very much worried that it's gonna be a video game movie of old in terms of like they tried too hard either, because we've seen movies where like we're happy they like tried to go to the source material, but then they try too hard to like make it for everybody at the same time. You know what I mean? Or like try it, or like the cast hasn't like maybe played the games or has any perspective. Not saying they might
easily see that being the case.
I can see that
for most.
I can see that being that can be an issue. I can see Jack Black of knowing.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
like,
does
like Jamie Lee Curtis know about Borderlands?
She does play video games. She plays Street Fighter, but I don't know.
But yeah, anyway. I just looked at the box office, by the way, for Furiosa. I didn't realize it was this fucking bad, dude. It's really like holy shit. It's gross domestically. It's not that bad, but it's still pretty bad for 2024. $64 million.
Okay.
Its opening was 26, so it's got maybe.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's and like, yeah, that's real stinker. which sucks because
Better
I
luck
think it
next
was
decade,
a
George.
good one.
Kojima saw it like 7 times in theaters. He's solely
He tried.
trying to market that film. He called
Yeah.
George Miller his god, and that's why he's in Death Stranding too. Yeah. But you know
But no,
who
we'll
else
see.
is
I'm
our
hoping.
god?
I'm gonna say with Borderlands just to finish it off. I guess my hope is for a positive. I don't want like. I don't like. I know you're a Borderlands hater. I wouldn't say I'm a hater. I just don't really care for it. I don't have any strong opinions for or against it. I'm just kind of indifferent on it. My hope is because I'm probably gonna watch it at some point, whether in theaters or in our future seasons of the video game movie show or draft.
Might
there,
watch it for this. I don't know. We still have
yeah.
to decide.
But my hope is that like because I've seen trailers before where I'm like, ugh, whatever, but then the movie winds up being fine. You know what I mean? That's my hope is that
Sure.
I'm entertained and that, we're like, oh, this wasn't as bad as the trailer was going to be. So,
All right.
we'll see.
All right. My
Damn, it comes out in
segue
August,
was
though.
ruined, but that's okay. I was gonna say our god is Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Is
true.
coming out December 10th of this year. Hopefully, still. We have yet to see a trailer.
20th?
12/20/2024.
2020. Christmas, basically.
Yeah, basically Christmas. We know that the trailer was shown at a convention of whatever it was called. I forgot.
And no one, well, at least we didn't really look for it, but no one leaked it, which was
Yeah.
kind of surprising. At least not even
I'm
like
fine
a
with that. I want to see
photo.
it for real. And
Same.
there is no confirmation on the voice. The rumor is Keanu Reeves. That would be insane.
Currently Keanu Reeves. We've gone through I feel like 5. And I know we've had our predictions of Timothy Chalamet, but then we're like, oh, the rumor is it's Hayden Christensen. Oh, we can see that. And now it's
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, which we've joked is kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit in terms of the Sonic universe, because Speed has been referenced, and Keanu Reeves is referenced again in the second one, if I'm not mistaken, at some point.
So
do we think this is still
maybe he's
happening?
been-
Do we
Yeah.
still think this is?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm-
I feel like this date is fine. I believe in it because I feel like it was already kind of pushed, if I recall. But maybe I'm just thinking about the Knuckles show. Oof, I just remembered the Knuckles show.
I just found interesting too, like thinking about this. How crazy is it? Like this journey, like us when we started this podcast, we've talked about it many times before. But in case you're new here, we started this podcast mostly as like a joke of like, yeah, the Sonic movie is gonna be really bad. And then like the trailer dropped like a week after we started. It kind of worked out great, and it was, what the hell is this design, right? And then that whole thing happened. They delayed the movie, so that they could redo the design. But at the same time, even if they did have time to redo it, the original slot was for I think Frozen 2, right? Was supposed to like be the same week. We knew that like that was
before or something.
And we knew that was like, man, it might not, even if it is good, it might not do well because Frozen always does really well. And they wound up moving it back. I think a combination of the design having to be redone, but also like probably good anyways.
2019 was a packed year for movies. Like there was still Star Wars and big Marvels and Toy Story 4 and on all these things are like, you talk about like people being picky and choosy.
Lion
what movie
King
they
was
see.
I think that year. I know like that movie wasn't great, but like it still sold really well.
Billions.
So
I
find it interesting. We went from that and then we went to Sonic 2, which didn't really have any like big competitors at the time, if I remember correctly, because it was like, and then the pandemic also helped it in a way, because like it ended theaters, so there was really nothing to compete with after a certain point. But I think it's crazy as part of this Cinderella story. It wasn't just like the first movie actually wound up being pretty good, and the second one being better. That's crazy. Like now Sonic 3, assuming this date doesn't change, and I don't think it will either, but I think there's always that slight chance in the COVID era of movies with things being delayed. And when he had the strikes last year as well, which I think delayed the production of this film, so I could see it maybe moving the timeline potentially. And we haven't seen a trailer yet, but if they've already shown it at a con, I'm thinking it'll be good. But my main thought was going to say, how crazy is it for this Cinderella story to kind of continue, that Sonic the Hedgehog is slated to be during Christmas time? That shows like the confidence they have, because I think you got to know for sure people are going to come out during Christmas time, because you have the potential. The ceiling is a shit ton of money because a lot of people go to the movie theaters for Christmas or New Year's even that week, right?
Yeah.
Especially families and kids. So I think the ceiling is big to potentially get a big box office, but then I think there's also the floor is lower than normal in my opinion, just because you run the risk of everyone's trying to go for the Christmas movie, of is there a Star Wars out, like most years there was last two, I think Star Wars were around Christmas time or have been kind of either in
Yeah.
the summer or
Yeah.
like Christmas time to get that, oh, we got to take the family to the new Star Wars. What is the blockbuster going to be? So it's kind of crazy to see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 slated for Christmas time. I have to look to see what other movies are slated there. It's still maybe a little early, but let me see if I can find things. But still, I think Sonic has a really strong shot to like beat its movie 2 box office potentially.
Yeah.
Even in
I'm
this
with
maybe
you on
down
that.
year in movies.
Because we're also in the point now where like the whole thing is just like bigger and bigger. Like it's crazy to think that like, oh yeah, a video game movie was successful enough that we're on the third one and it's
That's the
getting in
other.
big
What's
actors.
one thing?
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
there was Resident Evil, but like those count. Sure, we'll just say they count. But like, come on, man! How often like Angry Birds 3 is finally being a thing? We'll talk about that a little bit later, but very rare that it's like, yeah, and like we finished this first one, and now we're immediately starting the second one. Now we're immediately starting the third. Like they made it
Okay,
Detective
so
Pikachu, and like then they're like, all right, see ya, even though it was a big success.
yeah, I agree 100%. I guess I'll say the biggest competitor probably, uh, we just talked about Lion King earlier being kind of one of the
Oh,
dominant
that's right,
things.
Mufasa, right?
Mufasa is coming out December 20th as well. So if video game movies are really like I think here, as I know I know you've probably been on the record earlier than me of saying you think there's a chance that video game movies can kind of maybe not be as big as like Marvel movies, but definitely be like one of the cornerstones for like art this decade. Assuming
Yeah.
that you have to have good video game movies come out to have that, and we've been getting them luckily in a good way because I want to review good ones.
Yes.
So I think a good test. This might be the biggest test in this era of video game movies outside of like Super Mario Brothers with Illumination, because I think that's a good tag team there. Illumination always does well. This might be a big test here. If they can somehow compete, even I don't think you need to beat Mufasa in the box office, but if you can like still beat your second movie numbers
your previous records, yeah.
and still
I
be right
think
there with
it
them,
has a
that's
good
a
chance,
win.
because I think literally Shadow the Hedgehog will have a I need to see this pull for curiosity's sake from people that aren't shadow pilled like we are, but people that are of our age be like, hell yes, that era of Sonic games is what I grew up with. Hell fucking yes. Also, I feel like just overall, maybe this is just Twitter, and which, could easily be an echo chamber. I don't know. I feel like people are like, that Lion King movie sucked. It wasn't as good. It was like a cool event to go see, but like,
Yeah, it's
they're
hard.
making
It's hard
another.
to know. But
So
it made
like,
so
I can easily
much,
see Mufasa not bombing, but like not being anywhere near Lion King's 2019 was, and then that might be, I think it's a decently good chance Shadow will beat it, or Sonic the Hedgehog 3, full title name, will beat it. But anything could happen, and yeah, I don't think
I
it's
think I'm
I
gonna
don't
play.
think
I
it's
think I would.
risky. I don't think it's too risky to keep the date, knowing Mufasa's there.
Yeah, I still think it's a challenge because it's Disney. Even on a down year, makes bank and has better marketing. We'll have not better marketing. We'll have more money behind marketing than Paramount will. So I'm not. I don't know if I'm not gonna say it's impossible. I think for Sonic to beat Mufasa, I think if there's a benefit with Mufasa being a loose sequel or whatever. I'm always confused if
It's a prequel.
Prequel.
Which is funny to me.
So we'll see, but it does have all the same cast. You got to remember the Beyonce fans; they pull up too, though. So you got to remember they're going to show up
If
to this
she's
movie.
if she's in it, I mean, her character
she's
is not alive.
But she's, I think, like she's like
cast
a producer,
again, or at least doing music.
She's producer of all the music. So, and
Okay.
you still have a pretty good cast. I'm going to say my prediction a little bit safer. I think Sonic still does pretty well. as a number two, but we shouldn't take it as like like a loss either if you're a Sonic
Nor should
fan. I
Paramount
think.
either, if that's the case. As long as you're in the
Yeah,
ballpark of Sonic 1 and two's box office, even if it's third amongst those three, if it's in the ballpark,
yeah,
you keep the train rolling.
yeah. Mufasa's
That's
the only one I'm
literally what
seeing.
Marvel is doing.
I'm trying to see if there's anything. I'm sure there's other things that I'm missing, but I think
Maybe
that's
not too
probably
many
the
that would
biggest
compete
one.
on like the family film type of deal. But yeah, if you
Uh,
can't find anything, we'll move on.
yeah, I see. Yeah, some of these. Yeah, I think some of these are like um, direct
Streaming.
to streaming or like a horror film. Yeah, no, like most people aren't gonna go.
Right.
Horror films don't always do great typically,
And they
anyways.
don't compete. That's not going to compete with Mufasa and Sonic. So.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it was like, I don't know, like the best horror movie all time, it won't. You know what I mean? It won't.
Yeah.
It won't.
Yeah.
Even if movies like Hereditary, I don't think did.
No.
Compared to Disney, no shot. Yeah.
So
we'll see. I'm excited.
I would say
regardless.
Sonic 3 coming out in 2024 is good because it has the potential to be still the best box office video game movie of the year because Minecraft on April 5th probably will do better than any of the Sonic movies. I legitimately
You think
that is going
Minecraft
to be
will be?
gigantic. I think it's going to be gigantic, Devin. I think
Who's
it's going to be
Who's in it
insane.
again?
Jack Black is in it. He is Steve. I have a little
Okay.
blurb of a synopsis, not a synopsis, but just like this is what the movie's about. The malevolent Ender Dragon sets out on a path of destruction, prompting a young girl and her group of unlikely adventurers to set out and save the overworld. And we have an Instagram photo of someone took of like the trees sets
damn,
and
dude.
stuff like that. Like it's live action Minecraft, and like kids are going to, because here's the thing. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 first trailer, this looks ugly. I'm curious. Or you got people that are like that. There are definitely adults that don't have kids. They might have a nephew or a niece that will take and will go to use the kids as an excuse to see that because they're so damn curious how the hell a Minecraft movie works.
Well, I'm gonna throw a wild card.
Minecraft is
in this.
bigger than Sonic the Hedgehog ever was. Just straight up. As sad as it is to say for maybe us, for a younger generation,
Yeah, it's hard to.
Mario Who is like legitimately a question they would have asked. Like, there's a certain age range, a band of time where Nintendo wasn't doing that great, and Minecraft was the kids' game, and all those kids didn't go away, and still Minecraft is a gigantic thing. I find the whole thing it is going to be gigantic. It is going to be huge. And I am goddamn curious.
I'm gonna throw a slight twist in this. I don't think this will change the box office that much, but I think this is very fucking interesting. Do you know what the director is known for? In terms of like
Nacho
early
Libre and
Napoleon Dynamite,
Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah, I found
which
that.
is interesting. I think that could make the humor of it palatable.
That's also where the Jack Black element comes in too, because he was obviously Nacho Libre.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too is we have Jason Momoa. We're a fan of Jason. We like him, so he's in it. Kate McKinnon's in it. If you have a decent,
by the way, in our
cast
spreadsheet, if you scroll to the right, there's some notes I have in there.
okay.
But
okay.
there, it's going to be interesting to say the least. Like, it's kind of like that whole thing. How do you make this movie? How do you make a Minecraft movie is going to be such an interesting question that people are going to want to go see just because they're curious. Let alone the kid element, let alone the fact that it might actually look interesting and just therefore, sell tickets on that.
Jared Hess did do looks like a animated movie called Thelma the Unicorn. So I guess he has experience too directing like a digital or like a CG, whatever you want to call it, space. So I think that helps with this too, where I think we've kind of guessed it's going to be kind of like Jumanji, and Jumanji movies do pretty well in the box office because I think of people like Jack Black can work well with that kind of style of movies. So I'm really curious. Yeah, they can go many different directions with this, and very interested of how they will do this.
I forget her name, but I think the person that is supposed to be somewhat of the main character um is the lady from Orange is the New Black. I
Oh,
forget what her name
Danielle
is.
Brooks. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to
Yes.
mention her. Danielle Brooks she's playing Dawn. It's the only character right now we have listed. She's been in a bunch of
I
stuff. Oh,
read
she's
Jack
in
Black says
Peacemaker
Steve,
too.
but yes, yes, she's in that. She's been in a few things, but a
She's
lot of
great in
TV.
Peacemaker. A
Um,
lot of comedies too.
yeah, yeah,
For sure.
yeah. I think it's gonna be huge. Rochester huge. That's a meme for no one but me and you. Yeah, I think it's gonna be big. Another movie that I hope isn't going to be small, and think that it might be big. Mortal Kombat 2 launches on October 24th of next year, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much is known other than Carl Urban is Johnny Cage, who they teased at the end of that first movie.
Which we were all like, why isn't he what's his name? I mean, I know he was in the first one. He should have been Kano. Like I feel like he just fits the bill.
Yeah,
But
he's not
it's fine.
Australian,
I
but
think
he could do the voice that's
he just
similar.
he looks like him though to a degree to me.
Yeah.
But no,
Two characters we know
we'll
are
see.
going to be in this movie: Shao Kahn and Quan Chi. So I
Hell
think
yeah.
they're going to have a big villain lineup. From what the director was kind of suggesting, should there be a trilogy of these movies, he likes the idea of the first one being before the tournament, the second one being the tournament, and the third one being what happens after the tournament. That's a cool idea. Because if you remember, Mortal Kombat 1 was the tournament, and Annihilation was like, and we're kind of doing it again. And then they wanted to make more, but Annihilation was just so bad. But who knows what if they had an end game? I like the idea of like, yes, I have an idea of when we would stop. You know what I mean? Not just let's just make them forever, like I'd want Sonic the Hedgehog to do. I guess to be fair, because to me that's like okay, you actually have maybe an idea for a story. All I'll say before I hand the mic over to you and let you pop off. I hope they retcon Cole Young there and just fucking give him Scorpion powers. The actor who played Scorpion is in the second one. We know that.
Yeah.
The cat agrees. She agrees with that. So like, yeah, I guess Scorpion is gonna be in it somehow, maybe as an apparition.
I
But
mean,
like,
he's.
just make
I
him.
think in
You
the
go on.
games he dies and comes back. By the way, I think they could just do something like that. He comes back for vengeance or something. But yeah, the actor is Hiroyuki Sanada, who's been in John Wick 4,
Shogun.
a lot of movies. But yeah, he's in Shogun, which was immediately like, yep, this is getting great ratings. This is kind of like Hulu's Game of Thrones in terms of its like intensity and people
Empire
talking about it.
conflicts of politics and
Yeah. You know, in my opinion, Shogun I think ended brilliantly. I don't know if I need more, but I'm also not going to say no. I think Shogun ended in a really cool way. Um, but I feel like in a way, since Shogun is big, I think this actually helps this movie a little bit. Like,
they
I
market
think
around him.
yeah, and I know a lot of people know him already, but like I feel like Shogun for a lot of people, this is their first like introduction to him because I've seen him in so many things, including the first Mortal Kombat. I think he was fucking amazing as Scorpion, and he does a great job of playing his characters, and I want more of him. So I'm not gonna be opposed to him being in it, unless he's like a it won't be Noob Saibot, but I wonder if we'll get a Noob Saibot situation because that is Sub-Zero, basically
I
coming
think
back.
I read
too.
that, but I didn't get too much of a confirmation where I did know for a fact Quan Chi and Shao Kahn are going to be in it. Yeah.
So we'll
I think it's
see.
pretty
I mean,
cool.
I'm sure they're saving some stuff, but
Question
yeah,
for
for me,
you. I
yeah,
threw
go
it
ahead.
out there. Cole
Mm-hmm.
Young. What's going to happen with him?
I mean, he's still listed on the bill, but I
He's
feel
the
like
original.
you have.
For audience members that don't know, I'll just catch you up. He's an original character made for the movie. He's like a shitty boxer who's just trying to make some money for his kid, and he's like the descendant of Scorpion, and he's an original guy that they
Yeah,
never.
he's
put
not in
Mortal
any
Kombat
games. I thought
11 or
I
1.
thought I thought for sure he was gonna be in like Mortal Kombat 1 as like a even as a one of the like not playable characters, but one of the like the dudes you can select to help
Oh,
you in the fight.
the
I forget the word for it, but
uh
I thought
yeah, the
for
assist
sure
characters, but
the assist character. I mean, he's not listed in the top, like this is IMDb to be fair, so we don't know how accurate it is, but like he's not listed even in the top 6, so he could become more of a side character. I
oof.
could see this movie maybe being about Johnny Cage and have Carl Urban kind of lead on it, which could be interesting. Because I feel like the first movie was kind of talking more about Hanzo, you know, and the clash of the the two ninja groups. You know what I mean? Of those, like that's kind of what the story was about. And then I think Cole Young's character was just part like the
He's our
part of it.
surrogate. We see through him in this wacky world, and we
Yeah, so I think
learn.
there's been movies in the past that have done that where like, hey, the main character in the first one, you're not seeing it through his eyes. We might be seeing it through Johnny Cage's eyes in this movie, or Raiden. Maybe I know Raiden's usually used in the video games as like the start of the conflict. Like, oh, what is Raiden gonna do? And then
Hmm.
you know, then you get
Hot take.
their characters.
They
But
should make
go
a
for it.
new OC for this one, and then we see through we're introduced through them, and the third one has a new one, and then they never put these characters in any video game because they just that synergy
Maybe.
just doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
Um,
I need to rewatch the first one because I haven't watched it since we
I forgot
reviewed it,
so
but I
much
did
of
like
it.
it.
You could have told me they did the tournament, and I would have believed you. Um, I need to rewatch it too. So yeah, maybe we'll do a rewatch episode type
Before
of
we
thing
have a
before
whole
the movie. We got
a year and a half.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I think it's
yeah, I'd be
a
down for
cool
it.
October movie. I think it's a good
Yeah,
one to have
yeah.
in October. We'll see.
What also might likely be an October movie, because we don't have a date for this, but this is deep into post production at this point. Return to Silent Hill, directed by the same guy who did the original. I forgot his name. Greg Russo. No, that Greg Russo is the director on Mortal Kombat 2. Um, anyway, yes, he's back doing
Christoph Gans is his
Right.
name, and he's also a writer.
this. There's a cool behind the scenes video where he's
I didn't
talking about
know.
Silent Hill 2, the video game, and how much of a piece of art it is. And I'm like, this guy, it looks like he gets it. Like, it looks like he actually gets it. So to see him be like, yes, I'm returning to Silent Hill, literally and titly, and it's an adaptation on Silent Hill 2, and like watching it when he talks about the music in this behind the scenes thing, he talks about like the original composers will help him work on the movie and what it is like. Here's the thing, folks at home, I want you to, if you haven't played Silent Hill 2, pause this after I say this. Pause this episode. Go on YouTube and search up Silent Hill 2 Theme of Laura. That song that plays during the credits. Yes, they did use it in the first movie and the credits there, but listen to that song. That is basically a perfect encapsulation of the tone of the video
Yeah.
game.
The soundtrack in
It
the
is
movie is amazing. It's creepy, it's sinister, it's atmospheric, which is all my favorite shit. That's why I liked the first one so much. I remember when we first reviewed it, I was like excited for us to watch it. But go ahead.
But what I kind of mean though is that like there are a lot of horror movies and yes, games especially want to emulate horror movies with their aesthetics that just do like creepy, atmospheric, typical stuff. But like there's a certain emotion and weight in Silent Hill 2's. I never played the first Silent Hill, so just talking about Silent Hill 2 here. There's a certain emotion and weight to the kind of soundtrack that's going on. Where like this one song that I'm specifically talking about, it's an electric guitar, and like it sounds really nice and cool, but it has an emotion of like this destitute loneliness, like a forlonging for something that you're missing. It doesn't sound happy, even though it's a really catchy guitar riff going on. That is a perfect encapsulation of the game to me. Whereas like you might give Bloober, chance with a horror game, like they made many, and they might not think of any other type of sound other than like haunting cavernous hallways and plucking pianos and big brass like scare sounds. So to see
And
him
those
talk
things,
about stuff
yeah.
like that in Silent Hill 2, the video game, and to see like yes we're doing that in this all of the monsters are being played by ballet dancers and acrobats, like that type of stuff. To like, it just seems like he gets it, so I'm excited.
I mean, the first one was to me like I feel like a really underrated horror movie. Like it's not perfect, but it has just even I like when I watched that movie, I didn't know anything about Silent Hill. I didn't know it was even based off a game when I first watched it when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it
I
just
remember you
had
saying that. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like it just was very good at capturing atmosphere and making it feel outworldly, but also so close. You know what you know what I mean? And you want it to kind of, and that's what I like about atmospheric horror is like it feels the most real in the sense of, uh, like you just feel like you're more connected to the characters, you're connected to the setting, and so you also want to leave like the character does, or
right.
you have to go down this hallway or whatever it is. But yeah, I think I agree a lot with like horror music. There's some movies that I think have very basic stuff and it works, it's fine. But the ones that are memorable have really good soundtracks. Halloween, The Thing, all of John Carpenter's shit basically has very great soundtracks. Even though it's nothing complicated, it's just kind of a couple of notes that he finds that really work well together. Um, there's some good stuff out there. And I actually listen to a lot of like horror soundtracks, and there's ones that will catch my eye. I'm like, oh, this theme for this character is really good, or this theme when the monster or whatever happens is really good. Even if it isn't always like an instrument, but like there's ways to do like the piano key by itself correctly, and I think like you said, there's so many movies that try to emulate that and don't always hit the mark, or it's just basic, and it's like, oh, it's good, but like it could be great, with someone who really knows like how to capture the setting, because that's everything in horror movies is the setting,
Yeah,
especially ones like Silent Hill. So
yeah,
I
for
can't wait
sure,
to see
for
it.
sure.
I
Me
hope it
too.
comes out in Halloween.
I'm
Even though it won't.
legitimately excited for this movie. Like, yes, Mortal Kombat's gonna be fun. Yes, Minecraft's gonna be fun. Obviously, I'm so excited for Shadow the Hedgehog, but like, I'm actually excited for a return to Silent Hill because I think it might actually be a great movie, just as a movie. You know what I mean? It's as opposed to based off a thing.
I also just
Um,
realized he directed Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is kind of an interesting horror folk movie. He also directed Beauty and the Beast, interestingly, the live action one.
oh,
Um,
huh.
who would have
Heard that
guessed?
was okay. Um, moving on to more scary stuff. A couple months later, potentially, December 5th, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Yes, the first movie was such a success. We'll find out our own opinions on it at some
Very
point.
soon.
That's on our list.
Very soon.
It's on our list, but we'll see. It did well enough that they immediately fast-tracked a sequel, which reminds me exactly like Sonic the Hedgehog. Hey, this is done. Let's move on and make another one now. Let's keep this rolling. Just like Minecraft, less so than Minecraft, but like Minecraft, the kids are going to show up. Kids are nostalgic for Five Nights at Freddy's, which is
You mean the
insane for a game
teens? They're
that's
a little
only
bit
a decade
older.
old.
I think they're a little
but,
older now, starting to get
you
in
know,
the teen category.
it's
Crazy.
just at the age where the kids that experienced it as kids, sorry, hold on one second. The kids that experienced it as kids are now at the age where they're experiencing nostalgia. And so, like,
Yeah.
hell yes, let's go see it. Like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun. So, I don't have an opinion because I haven't seen that first movie yet. We'll find out. After that, another confirmed date, April 3rd, 2026, the Super Mario Brothers movie 2. All we know about it, because this was announced overnight right before the Nintendo Direct on the Japanese Nintendo account by Shigeru Miyamoto. He said, I just want to throw this out there before we do this Direct. We're making a second movie. This is the date. And he says it's going to be a fun movie. So I believe him.
I hope so.
He says it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to have
This is
more
going to be a
Donkey
very
Kong in it than
serious
normal.
one. It's going to be very serious. I wouldn't call it fun. We're trying to do more of like a bleak, vibe for this one.
Like
we were really inspired.
like desaturated color scheme, and
Yeah.
all we know is that Yoshi was teased. So I guess we're gonna see Yoshi now. I don't
Yoshi's past was very dark, so we're trying to set the
know.
tone.
Exactly inside that egg. Yes. Even though we know nothing about it, that we just know it's going to happen. Like, so much money was made, And Nintendo's not a company that's just going to be like, let's actually no. They're going to make it one way or another. It might not be the movie that they're making now. It might not be the date, but they will make a Super Mario Brothers movie too. So those are all movies that we know, like, these are actually going to happen. Like, there's work being done. Next up, we kind of have a list here, and this is just alphabetical of like movies that are very likely going to happen. There's no reason not to think it's going to happen, because we kind of have like a wish-wash feeling for some later ones. But Angry Birds 3, as we mentioned, they recently put out a teaser that's just saying there is going to be a third one. It's just in pre-production now. So they say production's starting. So like, but there's people there. And it's now a Sega film.
Out of all the ones on the list, is the only one that's actually showed, even if it's just that, something. So I'm like 99% sure that this is going to come out.
Yeah, for sure. And it's got a track record of making money. Even though
it'll be
we
out,
didn't really
I
care
can see
too
it being,
much for that first one. I don't know what the second one's like. We probably won't find out for a while because it's not on our draft right now.
I was gonna say I think this movie's coming out end of next year, if I had to guess. Maybe early 2026, if I had to.
I'm gonna say 2026 because if they're starting production now, who knows if they'll be able to finish? But maybe they don't care and they're just phoning it in. It's happened before. You know who's not gonna phone it in? Hideo Kojima. In the A24 film adaptation of his 2019 video game, Death Stranding.
This is probably also 99% happening. I don't think A24 typically, from my knowledge, doesn't typically announce things without being serious about it, because they have a pretty good like marketing on when it comes to like, yep, these are the movies that are coming out. Here's who's with it. Here's the cast and stuff. A24 gets me excited. I know some people, I get the things like, oh, it's like the pretentious people like it. But like I said, I'm a movie snob now, so it doesn't matter to me. You can't hurt my feelings.
I'm immune to your insults. I will just
at the very
say,
least, the cinematography.
The general audience thinks that there are only two types of movies: Marvel and A24. So, by definition, it's going to seem pretentious next to Iron Man shooting Spider-Man in the face. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's just the way it is.
No, I mean, A24 is usually not afraid to do weird and wacky ideas, even if it doesn't give them box office success all the time. They'll do the more avant-garde shit, especially with like horror films or even just like thrillers, that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for this because Hideo Kojima's, I think, makes movies in the sense of how he makes video games and that like idea. I think that's how he structures his storytelling, is a lot with the idea of a movie in mind. So I'm really curious to see how he handles that with like, hey, if you're doing a movie, you can only do 2 hours and 15 minutes, let's say. Right. How are you going to tell the story with that? I think it'll be a challenge for him, so I think it's a good thing. My only thing is Norman Reedus has to be in this fucking movie. No shot.
I think the cast entirely needs to be in this movie because guess what? He hires only Hollywood actors seemingly nowadays. So either they're in it or they're not.
Or he's doing a spin-off that takes place in the Death Stranding world. And then
I guess to be fair,
or something.
I don't know if he ever confirmed that it is literally the video game itself. Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited and it's going to happen regardless of how it happens. You know what I mean? Like movies change all the time. Because next up is a movie that I think is very likely to happen at some capacity because they are working on it. Gravity Rush, based off the 2012 PlayStation Vita launch title, and its follow-up sequel, which was in 2016 for PlayStation 4. I think it was 2016. Great games with a gravity-bending kind of gameplay to it. This was shown off at CES either this year or last year, 2022 or 2023. Or 2023 or 2024 rather. There was just some like behind the scenes like footage, like some pre-production, CG going on and motion capture stuff. But it's being worked on. That's why it's likely to happen, in my opinion, because Sony made a big PlayStation Productions push, and they're filming stuff, so something's gonna come out. That's what I think. It's not like the days of remember Ratchet and Clank came out, but sometime before that, they decided to tease Sly Cooper movie. and then that just died immediately because they realized, wait a second, let's not just start shilling all of our stuff around. Also, I think they kind of knew Ratchet and Clank was not going to be good. I know you don't know much about Gravity Rush, do you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that fucking looks like, honestly. I have
Openish
to look at
world
it.
type thing, girl. So here's the thing: by Gravity Rush, you're a girl,
Just
superhero
gonna
type of
Google it.
thing in a very fantasy French styled world. You fly by
Oh,
picking
I
an
see.
angle and having gravity now be that direction for you. So she's always falling. She's not flying. She's falling. Very fun on PlayStation 4. On the Vita, it was very hard because you have to use the motion, and like I never platinumed that game on Vita because of that. I platinumed the remastered version on PS4 though because like I didn't have to move my screen around myself. It was just the controller. Very fun games. Never finished the second one though. Second one was also only 30 frames per second, which was very
I just
jarring
saw an
for it.
article here. It says Gravity Rush director wants to see the game on PC. um,
Yeah.
by the way, the director is Anna Mastro, who's done Secret Society of Second Born Royals and Runaways, which I've heard about,
Oh,
and
the Hulu
Unreal.
thing. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, only one episode though, so it wasn't like she didn't do like
Okay.
the whole
So
thing.
TV.
But
That was TV. Yeah. Yeah.
she's done a lot of TV
Okay.
shows. I'll say that. So hey, this might be her first real
Interested.
big movie, so that's always cool. We always cheer for that.
Absolutely.
Give
Jeff
newborn a
Fowler.
chance. Jeff Fowler.
Absolutely.
Now he's a
Absolutely.
veteran at this point.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 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 All right. Next up, The Legend of Zelda. This is being made by Sony Pictures, live action, which is insane to
Interesting.
me. I would have
So
done
interesting though.
this animated. Here's the thing. I would have loved to see not 3D animation like Mario, like CG thing, but flat 2D. And my personal Legend of Zelda movie, if I were to be able to make it, would be hand drawn. Um, kind of like what was that movie called? Thief and the Cobbler. Folks, look that up at home. Look it up on YouTube. A full 24 frames per second animated movie. Beautiful, but not that great of a movie. Something like that would have been my Zelda movie. This is going to be live action. We have no idea to what capacity anything it is. It is just happening. And I think it is very likely just simply because Mario is a huge success. Nintendo's like, once we start a deal like this, we want to see it through. Regardless of if it's in this form or not, a Zelda movie will happen now. They might scrap this and make an animated one with Illumination, maybe no less. But regardless of how they do it, a Zelda movie will happen for sure. That's my lock.
Yeah, I'm trying to read this like article quickly. I mean, Sony Motion Pictures Group chair said that this Legend of Zelda is gonna be huge for us. In this interview, this was just in May. Um, so I think, and he said he points to like Super Mario Brothers being like a big result. So, and they have experience with like Uncharted. So I think I don't think they'll probably shift. In my opinion, I think I can see them, but you never know. But like,
It's one of those things like, does this work in live action or not? Just we'll
I think
just
it's
see.
possible. I think you can do a.
I don't know if it's going to
Like
be
the
an
be-
adaptation or a brand new thing. It could be.
I hope it's a kind of like maybe what they did with the Uncharted, where you have elements of things from other like the games that the fans will know, but keep it.
an original
know,
story.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to like start it off for something like this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
And we'll see. We'll see. Next up, this is on here because the way it was announced and just the fact that video game movies are now a big thing. You announce them in this fashion when you're like, yes, we're making it for real. Street Fighter. There is going to be a new Street Fighter movie. Capcom announced this last year. And it seems like it's going to be a thing. However, it's already having some setbacks. It lost its director due to scheduling conflicts. This is
Okay, that's not
definitely
the
a
end of the
movie that's
world.
in the we're passing the script around, guys, kind of phase. So, which I'm sure Zelda is in the same position. I doubt that they are like, let's start. Um, so yeah, I think it is still very likely going to happen because I think kind of just like Zelda, when a company like Capcom decides, hey, we're gonna try now for real. We're not giving it to what's his name and his wife to make Paul W.S. Anderson. You know, I mean, who knows? They might, because they don't have a director now. They could give it to. In that case,
I bet
yes,
he-
that movie is being made because he hasn't failed us in terms of making something. I guess he has a better
And
track
making-
record than
making
anyone
money.
else
Making money
video
at the
game
end of the day.
movies, even specifically. I guess besides maybe Uwe Boll.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not the end of the world when there's a scheduling conflict. That's happened before. One of my favorite examples is Gareth Edwards is supposed to do a second Godzilla movie, but
Right.
then Star Wars, which is his other favorite thing, opened the door for him, and he's like, I gotta do the Star Wars movie too. You know what I mean? Like, and then
he already
that's when
did a
he went different
Godzilla.
direction.
You might as well. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So you never know when there's. Sometimes it's a good thing when someone's like, "Oh, this guy didn't work." But actually, there's other guy who actually there might be someone who really wants to do it, who steps in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
James Cameron? You want
James Cameron?
That would be insane. Because he'd be like, like all the fireball and all the, their special
Oh my
attacks.
God, it'd be over
he
the
would
top.
have it
It'd be
look
over the top.
top notch. James, get on it, please.
He's
need
doing
you.
Avatar
Or even
3.
Michael Bay. I would take Michael Bay. You know what I mean?
Michael Bay can do it. What
another
has Michael Bay
Uwe
been
Boll
doing?
hater. I don't know.
He's
Maybe
been-
drinking
hopefully
a
he's been
Mai Tai
quiet.
on a beach.
Probably.
He does whatever
He's
he
like,
needs to do.
He makes his one Transformer movie for 3 years and then goes just chills for a couple months.
Last on this kind of list of very likely to happen movies, Until Dawn. This was announced this year. Sony's trying to make that push for that IP a thing again. There's a
And
remake.
they the remake or whatever.
Coming out. And they're working on this movie. I think, now here's the thing. We've talked about Death Stranding. You can't make that story without those actors. I think you could make Until Dawn without Rami Malek or whatever his name is, and Hayden Panettiere.
Because he's definitely like probably like the most well-known person in that. So I
at
feel
the
like they're
time,
probably not.
he was a light TV actor. Hayden Panettiere was in Heroes. I think that was really it. So like, sure, but now it's like, well, we don't actually need you. I don't remember him bringing anything particularly astonishing to the role.
He is like
him.
one of the main characters though.
but
So like we'll see
how much.
Well,
yeah.
I read the article there quickly, and it says there's really no like solid information saying that they won't return, but there also is no information saying they will either.
Depends on how much money. I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe it won't even be that story. I kind of hope it's that story because I think it's a kind of a cool one. I'm really curious about the budget of this though. Like, is this gonna like for a horror movie like this? I could see it being kind of a low budget. So I don't know if they will be able to get what's his name? Malik there for sure anyways, like just on a money thing. I don't know. So it's like we'll see. I'm very curious how they will handle this one. Cuz I don't think they're going to put I talked about it earlier at this episode. Horror movies just don't do big in box office just
I think they want it to
typically.
be more fun, PG-13. You take your girlfriend or your boyfriend to see it. Oh my god, you know what I mean?
Or your boyfriends.
Yeah, or your girlfriends. To see it. I think it's there. They want it to be more. Hey, I could be wrong. I think they're looking for more cheesy horror.
For sure,
fun
for sure,
times, But
But there's still like a
what if instead
with it
they
and
just
stuff,
have someone
so-
playing the game, and it's just
And
being projected on the screen.
Oh my god, a let's play. They hired
Yeah,
Ninja.
exactly.
That's where all the budget went to. Ninja just
God.
plays the game for 4 hours.
Or Northern Line, those
Yeah,
commentary.
yeah.
Okay, so then now here's a list of 5 movies that are probably happening.
We
In
can
fact,
breeze
actually, one of
through
them I could
these.
probably move up. Yeah, Detective Pikachu 2 now finally is starting to happen for real. I think they realized, hey, there's money on the table that we missed out on from a movie that is 5 years old. That's starting up. Ghost of Tsushima, the Sony first-party game that released in 2020, the samurai type of game. I do think that is going to happen, and it
Especially with
apparently
things
has
like,
someone
once
from
again-
Shogun in that.
Yeah,
movie.
all you have to say is Shogun. I think is gonna elevate the like kind of feudal Japan interest No, just the same way Game of Thrones kind of like revitalized like fantasy or high fantasy, dark fantasy, whatever you want to look at it. Uh, and people's interest in that. Like so many people who I knew never cared about fantasy, all of a sudden are interested in Game of Thrones. Like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. So like I think I'm just gonna keep pointing to Shogun, being like, hey, if Shogun keeps being popular, I could see it maybe moving the needle for some of these movies to actually happen if they were on the 50-50 fence. That maybe it's now a 75% chance.
For sure.
So we'll see about that one.
Next up, a Markiplier-led film. That's right, you heard me. Iron Lung, which is a horror game.
Was
Looks
this
like
before or
this is probably
after
coming out.
the actual submarine becoming Iron Lung?
I don't know. I think this is actually supposed to be coming out next year. I only put in this probably happening thing because who knows? With this whole kind of thing, just seems like this could easily just crash and burn and be nothing. Like, it seems like Markiplier's funding it. So who knows?
Yeah, and how much is he funding
video game
it?
nerd type of thing. Or it's like,
I
really want to make this movie.
Is he just going to be like an executive producer who put in X sum of money?
He's in it. I think he's also in it. So,
hey, maybe, like as much as like his content isn't for me or for us rather, but like how many YouTubers,
say
man?
The N
how many
word. They all broke but him.
No, I'm not going that direction. I was going to say how many YouTubers though like at some point need to look at other ways to make money. You know what I mean? With the influence they still have, because I don't know if in 15 years people are going to know who the fuck Markiplier is.
Yeah.
I don't know if he streams. I'm assuming he probably does. I mean, every YouTuber who wants to stay relevant, I think, streams now and then hires someone to edit their shit. Because he was one of the more traditional Let's Play, dudes. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah,
I know about the game, and I remember like when the whole.
I didn't know anything about this.
The game is a submarine game, and I remember when the submarine thing went down. That rich people won last year. That like his sales went through the roof, and he's like, "Thank you," but it's also kind of fucked up. Y'all are buying the game now. Okay. He the guy did like a tweet or whatever because it was an indie developer or whatever who's like, "Thank you." But like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I hope that guy's involved because indie developers don't make much money typically.
Well, he's making money off this movie, that's for sure, right? He has to.
Yeah.
Next up, Stray, the cat game from a couple years ago. This was announced last year. I believe this is also an Annapurna or A24 film. So cool. Cool.
A24.
I believe it's going
originally
to
I was gonna say. Oh, I can see it just being an animated like version of the game, and because I think if you take away all the puzzles of that game, it is kind of like a movie in the sense of its length. I feel like an actual like there is of course things you picked up it can read and all that stuff, but in terms of like the cut scenes, you can streamline a lot of that. But if it's A24, they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to make it live action and make it.
Oh well, we'll see. I would be super interested if that's the case. Live action cat.
They will.
Movie.
I think they will. A24 doesn't do animated shit that I know of.
Okay.
They did a movie about a lamb. That's a little kid. He's like a little lamb. I didn't see it, but the trailer looked interesting. He's like a little lamb baby. He has little hooves. I remember.
You know what we did see though? Uncharted. Uncharted 2 was just recently announced. That's probably going to happen because that's just money. You know what I mean?
Bro,
diminishing returns are still returns. So
Tom Holland is starting to, he needs to find his version of Harrison Ford, in terms of making a couple Uncharted movies.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to rattle off a list of films that might happen. These are movies that are kind of announced semi-recently. Maybe some of them are kind of unconfirmed. But they're like, hey, we're going to be making these, but like, not much has really been said or done about them, so I'm going to rattle them off. These are all in alphabetical order as well. Bendy and the Ink Machine, a very horror game type goofy thing. And it looks like, what if Cuphead was Five Nights at Freddy's? That's the vibe I get, which sounds boring to me. Comic Zone, the classic Sega game about a comic book artist stuck inside his comic books. Days Gone, the Sony zombie motorcycle game. Dead by Daylight, an indie game called Dredge, which is Lovecraftian fishing. It's interesting. El Paso Elsewhere, which is an indie game about a vampire hunter having to kill his ex-girlfriend before she destroys the world, inspired by the video
Sure.
game Max Payne. It won awards. It Takes Two, that game where you're doing a co-op partner or the two
Yeah.
dolls, they broke up or whatever.
An
There's an
anti-divorce game.
Right. Yes, you must stay together. An unannounced, unconfirmed, but heavily rumored Jack and Daxter film. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Our
We'll
video
see.
game heroes.
We'll see. Animated Mega Man. Another freaking we're cutesy, but actually a horror game adaptation. Poppy Playtime. Roll my eyes
Never
at
heard
that.
of it.
The indie game Sifu, Kung Fu action type of game that was announced. Slime Rancher, a first-person kind of portal-like puzzle game of making little slime guys. Space Channel 5, another Sega classic dancing rhythm game. Streets of Rage, a classic Sega beat 'em up. Basically, Sonic the Hedgehog kind of was like made Sega be like, hey, we can make a lot of these types of movies. The Sims,
Streets of Rage, they should just do the Warriors again.
yeah. Well, yeah, the Warriors video game was made by Rockstar of all things, which I find crazy.
That's awesome.
The Sims, which apparently now has maybe Margot Robbie attached, so maybe this should have should have bumped this up a list because I think just having an actor like that attached recently might be big. And then Toe Jam and Earl, classic. I don't think they're made by Sega, but classic video game about trying to find the funk. You know?
Oh, Stephen Curry, like Steph Curry? Wait, no.
Yes, that basketball star is attached to it.
Oh, dude. Now I'm really cheering for this. I'm not a LeBron hater, but for the NBA beef. Not beef, but just like the NBA drama of it all. Because Space Jam 2, like, kind of sucked. And LeBron James, everyone says he sucked. Man, if he does this movie and it's good, dude, the NBA drama is going to be like, they're going to be hating. Because, like, if you can't hate LeBron on the court, you're going to hate him off the court. So, like,
Sure,
you know what I
sure.
mean? Like, just
Sure,
for the
sure.
chaos, I'm cheering for this movie now.
Sure. It must have been that to me sounds like here's a celebrity who played this game as a kid, loved it, and is like, yeah, I have this weird attachment to this video game.
And he has enough
yes.
millions of dollars to maybe get it going, to get it done.
And
Fuck
there's
it.
no
And
Kevin
if he's
Durant
in it,
who's a traitor.
no, Katie's. I think Katie's like back on the like good end because he's
I just
been on
remember
some
the
crap.
memes from like I don't know 8 years ago when we worked
Yeah,
at Game
I
Out.
don't. He's not
We
been in bad
scratched that
teams,
into a
but
window.
he's been the good guy on some like big drama teams. So like he's kind
Interesting.
of redeemed now.
He's
yeah.
the baby face now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a list now of movies that are probably not actually ever going to happen unless something major changes and it's like rebooting the whole thing. Beyond Good and Evil, a classic Ubisoft game, is actually getting a remaster of the video game itself coming out soon. BioShock, they're writing a script. It's been maybe about a decade, but they're still writing a script, guys. Crossfire. I don't even really have any information on that. I just know that was like in movie hell. Firewatch, the indie game about a man whose wife got early onset dementia, so he basically has to hand her over to her parents, and then he goes and becomes a Firewatch marshal to escape his reality. Very cool game. That team also made Half-Life Alyx, so yeah, movie based on that would be interesting. A movie based off Just Cause has
Yes,
been
please.
in movie hell forever.
I'll take that though. Give me the fucking weird.
It'd
just
be fun. I'm
Get
sure it's
Jason
gonna be
fucking
expensive as
Statham.
hell.
Get Jason fucking Statham, and he's just be like, "It's just cause. I gotta do it." That's not
Yeah.
even a good accent. I apologize.
Probably the most
I'm the
famous
beekeeper.
movie hell video game movie, Metal Gear Solid. I feel like what's his name?
If we ever get this,
Uh,
it's
Jordan Vought Roberts, who's your Kong Skull Island director, has been saying how much he wants to make it for a decade. At this point, put up or shut up. I'm tired of hearing you give out concept art that fans drew for you. Be like, I would love to make this. Either make the movie or stop talking.
well, the guy from Furiosa, like the kind of like her kind of like mentor. I can't unsee it because when he has the black makeup, all I see is fucking Solid Snake, dude. Just if you make that
Sure, I
black
saw those
makeup a
pictures, too.
bandana,
Kojima even
Fuck
pointed
it.
that out.
Yeah,
But all it takes is for that guy to have that grease paint start to go all the way down, and then he's canceled.
yeah, that's true.
Um, I'm joking, obviously.
It's true though.
Well, no, he would get canceled if that was someone who was actually wearing blackface, but still. Pac-Man, a Pac-Man movie. Sure. Okay. That was definitely gonna happen.
Make it like
Let's
a
do our
monster.
episode.
Make it like a monster, like
Yeah.
movie, like a kaiju movie. Make it a
Jesus.
fucking giant Pac-Man comes out of the sea
Fucking
and starts just chomping down.
pixels.
It just starts chomping down. Like not like I know Pixels.
No,
I
I
think
want
it's
it to
something
be like
that, but
Tron
like
instead. Someone's trapped in a video game and it's Pac-Man.
oh, and it turns
Oh.
into like a alien situation where he doesn't know when it's going to be at any corner, and you only see glimpses of it. There you go.
Sure. He's a ghost.
He's
Saints
he's
Row.
he's already dead. Oh my God! There's the plot twist,
Yeah,
folks.
Saints Row, a video game series that is probably on ice now because its reboot failed and its studio closed. Space Invaders. Sure, I don't think that's going to happen. Watch Dogs. Sure, I think it just finally got maybe a writer. Sure, I doubt that that's going to happen. That's in movie hell. And then here's a small list. There are no way that these movies are going to happen. Dragon's Lair. I don't care that what's his name, Deadpool is attached to it.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Not going to happen. That's the famous animated arcade game where it's like all QuickTime events. You're just watching animation play out. Duke Nukem, no way in hell that you make a misogynistic, toxic asshole lovable in movie form when he's all cliches based off action movies. There's no way that's going to happen. Gears of War has been in movie hell for decades. Never going to happen. Dave Bautista has wanted to do it. He's now like retiring from acting, I feel like. From like
Getting
big things like
close
that.
to
He
it.
wants to be in goofy stuff. He doesn't want to have to get abs all the time, if that makes sense. Just Dance. Sony got the rights. Doubt it. Portal. Just recently, after like a decade and a half, got a little bit of a pulse because J.J. Abrams finally got his head out of his ass and said, yeah, we're actually making progress on it now. Doubt it. I remember when it was announced he was making a Portal movie years and years ago. Not going to happen. The Rayman Ubisoft Rabbids. Apparently that was supposed to get a movie many, many years ago. Doubt it. There's a mobile game called Talking Tom. When I
Never heard
say
of it.
game, what I really mean is an animated 3D model of a cat that you poke and annoy. Kids liked those enough. They announced a movie of that in 2018. Still doesn't have an IMDb
no shot.
page. No
No
shot.
shot.
I should probably just delete it off the list because it's highly unlikely. And at the bottom here, 3 Tom Clancy games. What I really think is happening is Ubisoft announces one Tom Clancy game that kind of gets scrapped behind the scenes, and they're like, why don't we try a different one? So the recent one is The Division, their big games as a service game. That was announced only a couple years ago by Netflix. Before that, you had Ghost Recon and Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell would make the most sense because that's like a singular action hero, like a Solid Snake.
Yeah.
You can make a spy movie about him very easily.
I did look up.
Those are not happening.
I did look up though. Has there ever been any Tom Clancy movies?
Oh,
And
plenty.
I'm surprised. And I just didn't like make the connection that like, Patriot Games with Harrison Ford is a Tom Clancy thing. Like I didn't know that. So like I'm like, oh, there has been. Because I was
Yeah,
like,
Reacher.
I'm like, has there ever been one? Net Force. Oh, that sounds sick. Net Force.
God.
The FBI battles cybercrime. Hell yeah.
Of
When
course.
was this made? 1999. Oh, that might be peak 90s right there. I might have to
Tom
check that
Clancy
one
is a writer. What a beautiful man. He is both has the opinion that the United States is the strongest force of all time, and like is the hoorah ultra heroes of everything, but also so fragile. All it takes is for China to whisper communism on the wind, and our country crumbles. He's that we're so fragile but strong. Slightly xenophobic outlook on the world.
I guess I didn't know
very funny
Jack
to me.
Ryan was Tom Clancy either. I just don't know much about Tom Clancy. Yeah,
Ubisoft has the rights to his name that they can slap on any video game, whether it's based off a book he wrote like Splinter Cell, or The Division, which is to my knowledge not based off anything he's ever done. It's just we have
His name.
like his name, so we're gonna use it.
All right, so on
that's all of
on
them.
this list here, though, of the no way these are happening specifically, what
Okay.
one, if you have to pick one, do you think will be made eventually? Whether it's not exactly this, let's say there's a script tied to all these, maybe not this script, but like just by name, what one do you think is gonna one day? It could be 20 years from now,
Sure.
30 years from now. Like, what one of these you think is gonna be happening?
This is going
potentially?
to be a hot take here. Out of
Okay.
all the franchises here, the one that I think would still have cachet in 20 years, assuming, like, let's say right now, all these franchises die 20 years later, the one I think actually has a shot of getting recognition and continuing is Gears of War.
Mm-hmm.
Personal take.
I was thinking the same thing. I feel like
I
Gears
know
of
Valve
War-
heads will be like, Portal, Portal, Portal. I get you, dogs. You still play Team Fortress 2. That's great. Happy for you.
Portal. I think Portal will be a game only we will know 20 years from now. Unfortunately, I think
because they have no intention on making new ones.
I think it'll be one of those like, yeah, like the old heads know fucking Space Invaders. I'm sure like the Zoomers out there don't even know what the fuck that is, right? You know what I mean? I think it's gonna be that like we'll know what it is, we'll know its impact at that time.
Yeah.
But since they don't make any new ones, people forget about it. Gears of War they'll still make. Gears of War I think they'll still make. That's maybe not. They don't make them as often
next year.
You know what I mean? So like, but I also could see maybe one of these Tom Clancy ones like randomly. You know what I mean? Just maybe not even by name, but be basically the game or whatever. I can see that popping up. You could just call it Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell sounds like a good movie name, you know?
Yeah.
Just like
like I said, it's just a spy movie. It writes itself. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, it didn't even occur to me when I was making this. I was like, oh yeah, duh, Tom Clancy is not just the video games. So technically, yes, there are Tom Clancy movies. You know,
yeah,
but not to this point. So yeah, that's all of the upcoming video game movies that have ever been announced that have not been confirmed to be canceled. You know what I mean? Ever.
There'll be no more. After they finish this list, they're done.
Any final thoughts on these lists? Do you feel excited about the future of video game movies, or do you feel like... you tell me, what do you feel like?
I mean, I know we've kind of talked about, like, we're in the Sonic renaissance. I'm confident with Sonic the Hedgehog, and probably pretty confident with Minecraft and Mortal Kombat. I think Silent Hill will be for the boys, for the fans of the other two movies, and and so there'll be some new people. This will be their first Silent Hill movie they watch, but we're fans of like those two movies. So for me, I'm more excited from that end. I mean, there's going to be, I think, Super Mario Brother movies as long as they keep making money. So I feel like I'm confident with what's happening the next year. But I'm looking at some of these other ones, man, and I'm like, outside of Uncharted 2, and I guess Detective Pikachu, and Death Stranding, I guess. Those are like my main three. I'm like, hell yeah, I want those.
Okay. Well, I'll say this right now. Minecraft will be a big success. They will make a Minecraft 2. Like some of these will get sequels. I'm sure there
might be something that's not on this list yet that will pop up.
Yeah.
I think there's a God of War TV show that's not on this list, though.
Well, I didn't do any TV shows. There's also Horizon
or movie.
TV
I don't know if it was a movie or not, but
no,
I thought
it was
that
an
was
Amazon
was it a TV
show. I did not see any God of War thing when I was looking up all.
So I think that's the other. That's the other future. We haven't. Maybe that's another episode down the line.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
A TV show, because Fallout has done really well and has already got a second season. Yeah. Which I was kind of surprised by.
Last of Us has announced at least 2 seasons.
Last of Us might be somehow which is crazy to say, a staple for Max for the next maybe 5 years.
It's wild.
So TV might be TV might be where maybe some video game some of these turn into TV shows maybe down the line.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see Until Dawn, for example, becoming a 5-episode, 10-episode.
Yeah, where one
TV
character
show.
dies at the end of each episode. That seems like a good format. Oh, okay. Let's take a second here. Until Dawn TV show. There are 3 different episodes called number 2, depending on which died. You know, like they could do
Yeah.
branching when the world is streaming. Shit, let's do it.
They've done that. That Netflix thing did the like choose your own adventure kind of thing. So they could do something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks guys for sticking around. Hey, you out there, you remember? You've seen this every single episode of the Sonic Movie Show because you watch on youtube.com/@SonicMovieShow. You comment down below the word movies. And then YouTube thinks you're a bot, but I still think it's funny that you wrote movies.
I love them.
I love them. Yes, we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Audible @Sonic Movie Show. So listen to us there if you drive a lot and you need something in the car and you don't really want to have a video on your phone because it might be distracting. And God forbid you get pulled over and then the cop thinks you're watching something on your phone. Like, no, man, I was just listening. So put us on
To
Spotify.
the Sonic Movie Show, and he's like, "Oh, I know those guys. You're free to go." Even though they've been pretty anti-cop, but okay.
Hey, man, I get it. And then keep in touch with us on social media: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads @Sonic Movie Show. Once more, thank you, Devin, for joining me. Thank you, Ethan, for joining him. This is the Sonic Movie Show. That's what we say. Movies out.
Movies.